Hello, my name is Pamela Kabata and I am a student at O'Connell. I am part of the online British Literature class at Galveston College this spring semester. I've chosen to write about the influence of social status in the 19th century. Social status or class is the communal value a person has in society, and class was determined by the amount of money a person or their family has. Usually, back in Jane Austen's time, the people were more respected if they were born into their wealth and not self-made. My essay is called The Influence of Social Class in Jane Austen's Emma. I chose this topic because it's important to look to the past to compare society then to now. Back then, the person who they were did not matter at all. The only thing that mattered was the amount of money they had. This categorizing of people based on status still exists today. A person can be seen as less because they work at a fast food restaurant, while someone else is seen as better or more because they own a fancy car. The difference is not as extreme and prominent as it was before, but it can still be seen today. Now, did status really have that much influence during the 19th century? British author Jane Austen has many swoon-worthy novels that have been made into some of the best romantic films of our time. However, her novels do have deeper meanings, not just about love, but about the situation of her time. Book Emma is about a young, bright girl who takes it upon herself to become matchmaker for her friends. It all starts with her not wanting her friend to marry a man of lower status, showing the disparities and the bias between different classes of her time. Emma by Jane Austen depicts the influence of the divide among social classes in 19th century England through its portrayal of marriage, finding friendship, and socialization between classes. Marriage was a very important aspect of any member of high or low society's life. It was often a means for financial and social security for women at the time. However, Emma Woodhouse, because of her wealth and status, had the ability to turn down proposals without it affecting her because there would always be men waiting in line to share in her wealth. Women with less resources, however, did not have that privilege. They usually had to jump at the first proposal and accept whichever men offered to marry them first so that they could secure some money and status for themselves and their family as well. In Emma, Jane Austen depicts how much money affected something that's supposed to be as meaningful as marriage. Economic hardships and the importance placed on social class complicated a concept that is really supposed to be quite simple: to marry the person you love. Economic troubles and the relevance of class changed how people looked for who to marry. Friendship and connections with people were also an important part of a person's life, but again, were also influenced by social class and wealth. An example of this is Emma's attitude towards the Coles, who'd found new fortune and climbed their way up the social ladder. Emma did not want to include or befriend them because they weren't born into their money, which made a difference for her. Within the lower classes, the difference was that they really weren't looking for friendship or looking for companions. They were looking for marriage, and they were putting all their energies into finding a husband, so friendship wasn't the priority. Emma didn't have this problem, but when she made friends, she did want to have someone within her own social class that wouldn't outshine her. She also goes as far as telling her friend Harriet to not accept a proposal from Farmer Mr. Martin because it would mean she'd marry in the lower classes. And for Emma, in her mind, this would mean losing her friend to people lesser than her and losing her friend to a farm. She did not want to go visit her friend on a farm, and it would make her friendship, in her mind, again, impossible to continue with Harriet because she was marrying into a lower class. How the different classes interacted and socialized with each other, as well as their attitude towards one another, is also very important to note. People displaying their wealth was a way and a crucial part of how people interacted with each other back in that time. Often this had to do with the society of the town or the city itself, as we see in Highbury, where Emma is set. Those with more income, more property, often looked down on those who had less or worked harder to make a living, as we see when Emma again speaks ill of poor Mr. Martin because he makes his living as a farmer. And she also later assumes that he hasn't had a proper education because he grew up with less, and she even goes as far as calling him vulgar. Emma and most members of high society had a superiority complex and tended to discriminate against those who had less money. The negative bias of high society towards those with less is clear throughout Emma. The novel Emma by Jane Austen depicts the social inequities in Victorian British society by using marriage and friendship as well as everyday interaction between social classes as examples to highlight a society divided by social class and standing. Those in high society looked down on those with less, with inferiority, and often assumed things about their character and who they were because they grew up with less. Wealth also influenced how a person found friendship. Those in high society didn't want someone to outshine them, but they also wanted someone that was around their same social class and standing as they were. However, in lower classes, friendship really wasn't the priority because they were each other's competition on the marriage market. Moreover, marriage was the priority, and it was more of a financial quest than one for love. It was a means to secure oneself financially, and it really was the important thing for those in lower classes, not in high society, because they did not have the immediate need to secure themselves economically. Given what we learn from Jane Austen's novel Emma about feelings of superiority and letting wealth influence people, we as a society should take these lessons to learn and use an example of what not to do when we are leading our everyday lives and how we treat people out in the real world. Thank you for listening and have a good day.